Jason Day. I'm a product designer at Atomic Robot, and today I want to walk you through how to make a pie graph and as well as some loading animation for that pie graph. So this is kind of an example of what we're going to make. Just kind of your basic, circle pie. We have like 75% here, and then we have these two halves. Oops. And we're going to take these two halves and we're going to animate them. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in a moment. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So just kind of start with an ellipse, right? And let me pull this back up here. And we're just going to do 300, like a nice even number for our purposes today. And the great thing about Figma is we have these little dots here, and we can sweep it open to whatever size we want. Today we're going to do 75. And I think if you hit shift, it'll lock. And now, since this isn't the right orientation we want, right? So we want the open part to be on the top left. So we're just going to rotate this just like that. Okay. So now we have the right orientation. And these dots here are pretty awesome because now we can just pull this open. How easy is that? I think we're going to do 80%. And again, I hit shift to lock that. So now we're going to hit enter or turn, sorry. And we're going to select these little dots here. This is your rounded edges, and we're just going to make this totally like a circle the best we can. And I've already connected our color styles from our design system, so you can just grab whatever color you want. There's not a lot, but we have some. And for this one, we're just going to do cosmic. And then this is just the fill-in 75%. And let's go ahead and call this blue for now. Really need to be good about your naming conventions. And now we're going to make another ellipse, 300 again. And if it doesn't lock, we just make it lock. And then now we're going to put that behind there, and we want this to be a stroke. And I think the stroke's supposed to be like 30. And then we'll change that color to, let's do 200. Little light, maybe I don't know. And we just want to get rid of that fill, so we just remove that. So maybe 200 will work now. Yeah, I think that looks good. Maybe a little bit darker. Let's see, 300. It doesn't really matter. So let's go ahead and call that ellipse gray. And we're going to select both of these, and we're going to Option Command K. And we've made a component. Let's just name it pie. So now we have the first piece of the pie. Ha ha. Okay, so now we start to get a tiny bit hairy, but don't get too scared. It's not that bad. All right, so this is when we're going to make like a nested component. So we're going to call this pie halves for the time being. And so what we're going to do is hit the R. Let's make a rectangle. And we're going to hit return to make this little line here. I'm going to show you why we're doing this. It never does it on the first try. It's so weird. I don't understand that. And so we touch it. All right, let's see if it works. Yes. All right. So this is, now we grab the end of this little line here. We want to make sure our x-axis is 0. We don't want it to be 2 pixels over or under, because what this does is if you rotate it, now it acts like it rotates perfectly. So if we only did, let's say, a regular rectangle at 150 by 300, it doesn't rotate the way we want it to. So hope that makes sense to you. So now we're going to make this 0. We're going to move this to the back because this is going to be our mask. So I'm going to call this our mask base for right now. And go ahead and use this little mask tool. And there it is. We have half of our pie. So now we're going to duplicate this. We're going to make a variance, right? So just hit this. I like to just add auto layout to my components because it's a little bit easier to work with them and see everything. And you don't have to do that, but it helps me. All right, so now I'm going to call it the, I'm going to call it true, and I'm going to show you why shortly when we move on to the next component set. This one's going to be called false. And for this mask, we're going to move it to the opposite side. So we're going to do that. So we have 2 pi halves, okay? All right, so there we have it. Half of the pie. Okay, so now we're going to do yet another nested component, okay? And this is, it gets more hairier, so if that's even possible. And we're going to call this our pie, what do we call it up here? Interactive components, duh. All right, pie interactive components. All right, so now what we're going to do, this seems a little nuts. We're going to do this again. We're going to do this because we're not going to edit this first mask. Like that's just kind of like our base for our animation. So I'm going to show you here, and we're going to do that weird trick here again, and just pull it out. And I don't know why it won't work on the first one. It's just so bizarre to me. But anyway, it will work on the second one. Watch. See, there it is. I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, so back to your X. Make sure it's 0. Everything else looks right. Just go ahead and make sure it's centered and all the way to the right. Okay, so now we're going to move this to the back like we did before. We're going to call this, I'm going to do capitalize to make like the emphasis that this is the one we want to edit. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this dude just like that. And if you hold shift, it'll lock to like the right one. So you're not like stuck at these like decimals like this. So there you go. All right, so now we take the pi half, we take the mask, we select both of these, right? I don't typically work in groups, but we're going to group these, and it's Command J, it looks like, for the shortcut. So let's do that. And we're going to call this 0, I think. And so now we have our 0 guy. And what we're going to do, actually, that's not right, is it? No, it needs to be called right. Okay, so now we're going to duplicate this. We're going to call this one left, and we're going to come in to our pi halves, and now we have that guy. And so we're going to come down to the left mask. We're going to rotate the left mask this way, okay? So we've rotated it to the left because in the long run, we want our animation to animate clockwise, because I think that's how most people are familiar with that kind of interaction. So we're going to duplicate this, and let's go ahead and add our auto layout to it. You can skip this step if you like, but we're going to be doing some prototype connections, interactive components. All right, so now we're going to come here. We're going to start with the right one, and this is where I was like trying to call it 0. This one's going to be called 1, and let's go to the right one. Let's click that up there, and let's come to our mask, and we want our animation to animate clockwise. So this is how it would look. It'd be like, all right, and just lock that. And then now we're going to duplicate this again, and then this time we're going to call this one 2, because it's like 0, 1, 2. I don't know, it helps me. So now we're going to come to number 2, and we've already done the right one up here. We're going to do the left one here, and we're going to grab that mask from the left one, and we're going to rotate it this way, okay? That's how we want it to animate. All right, so it says 180, okay? So I've done this so many times where when you have the mask at 180, it doesn't animate correctly. What happens is it will animate clockwise this way, and then because it's this even number, then it starts to animate this way. I'm going to try to see if it works this way, because that's how I rotated it. But let's just take a look here. So prototype, let's just go ahead and connect this one. We're going to do on after delay. Make sure you change this to 0 or 1, whichever. We're going to use linear. And just to kind of show you the animation slowly at first, we're going to start with 1600. And let's go ahead and connect this one. Again, after delay, change that to 1 and smart. Yep, it saved all that. So here we go. Let's see if it actually works. That must be left over from last time. All right, so now we're just going to duplicate this. All right, and we're going to have a flow starting point, and let's just call it pi animation. Okay, and let's see if it works. So if we come here and it loads, come on now. See, that's what I was concerned about. It starts this way, but then it keeps going this way. So let's come back here. I think I know how to fix this. What I was going to show you is, even though it says we're doing the left one, remember, like 180, it's like this even number. So if we take this mask and we select it and we rotate it back to, because see, it was at negative. So let's do negative 179.99, and I bet you it's going to work. So let's come back here, hit restart. Look at that. Beautiful. Let's do it again. Yes. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's like this gray square. We don't really want that. So what you can do is you'll actually have to come back to this first one, and with the right side, you open it up because that's the one we're doing. You want to go to the actual pi piece, and then where is it? It's the gray part, right? That's why we label things, because when we start diving into all these layers, if it was just like ellipse 6, it would be kind of confusing. So we're just going to go ahead and turn that gray piece off, come to the number 1 component, and back to the the right side. We have our pi halves. We open that up. We open the pi and a gray again. We don't want to turn it off. We just want to hide it. So now, if we do this, it looks a little bit cleaner, right? And then the gray does kind of dissolve in. But if you were doing this for an app or a website, we'd probably want a little bit faster animation. So I'm thinking probably like, let's see, 300. It probably would make more sense for it to be a little faster. Yeah, I think because if like you have a dashboard or something and you have a whole bunch of these, that might be a little bit fast, but you get the idea. And the great thing about what we've done with these nested components is like you can change the color of this kind of, like if somebody wants a color change, it changes it all the way around, right? It's really convenient. And you could always add another component here. If you don't want to change the color for all of them, and you still want to have like 2 different colors, you could come in here and you could change that color to your second variant, and you could kind of mix it all up. So I hope this was helpful. It took me a while to learn this, the way it rotates, the way it animates, the negative aspect of the masking. If you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out in the comments. I totally get it. But I think this is be a pretty cool way to introduce some animation to your data visualizations and your dashboards, or any kind of like rating system for customers, or any kind of service at all. Anyhow, I hope you have a great, wonderful, exciting day ahead of you. Again, thanks for tuning in, and I hope this was helpful. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.